All right, thanks for joining us. So over in Gypsum, Eagle Valley football was on the hunt for their second win of the season as they hosted Glenwood Springs. The Devils only had that first win over Evergreen dating all the way back to week 3, so they really needed some energy from a W to spark up that locker room as the season starts to close out. With only one win on the season, coming against Evergreen in week 3, the boys of Fall and Gypsum were in desperation mode as they needed a victory to fire up their team. Glenwood Springs, lined up near the 1-yard line of Eagle Valley, will sneak in the end zone with quarterback Jaquin Sandoval. And the Demons will add 6 to the board. They'll go for 2 here on the conversion. Sandoval hands it off to Mason Markovich, who carries it into the end zone to convert for the Demons. Eagle Valley, though, they're not going to have much quit in them tonight. They'll march down the field, hand it off to Elias Pina, who leaps into the end zone for 6. Then they'll run it back. Caven Lake finds Camden Carl in the end zone for another 6. Glenwood Springs has got to be wondering what's going on here. Is Eagle Valley, it's like a new football team. They're playing pretty competitive. The Demons, they'll try to rally back late in the game, but Eagle Valley was just too strong as they knocked off Glenwood Springs at home in unexpected fashion. Ben Roof, he caught up with head coach Chris Lake after the game.
We are here with Coach Chris Lake of the Eagle Valley Devils varsity football game, and you guys just beat big rivals Glenwood. How does that feel?
It feels absolutely wonderful. Great night, senior night. The boys came out ready to play a football game, and we took it to the house and had a great night. We're happy.
Awesome. The boys came out right off the gate with a lot of energy, a whole bunch of interceptions tonight. Was there anything you guys were doing in practices leading up to today that you think really set the tone?
We always do the best we can game planning for the opponent that we're facing. Not that we saw anything different or anything special this week. Our kids just made plays this week. It's as simple as that. They made, they listened to the coaching and they were in the right positions and they made the plays when they came to them.
So with no Battle Mountain this year, is Glenwood the big rival then?
I would think so. Yeah. This is obviously my first year here coaching, so I'm learning who the rivals are and all that fun stuff. But this is definitely a sweet one, and we're happy to have the win.
Demons versus Devils. Devils taking home the win. Thank you so much for talking to us, Coach.
Appreciate it.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the postseason is in full swing here in the Valley. So let me update you real quick on how our teams from the area are performing. For boys soccer 4A, the 3-seeded Battle Mountain Huskies won their first game in the postseason against Mullen 6-0, but that was last week, and they'll now turn their attention to a matchup Wednesday evening with 19-seeded Golden at home in Edwards. That game will be played at 5 p.m. Fellow 4A school and rival school Glenwood Springs boys soccer is the number 10 seed and will face off against the 7-seeded Steamboat at Steamboat Springs Wednesday at 6 p.m. So some good games there in Class 4A, but wait till you hear this. On the other hand, some tough news to swallow, but Vail Mountain School will not be running it back this year as the boys 2A state champions. The Gore Rangers entered the postseason as the number 1 seeded overall team in boys 2A soccer and fell 6-7 in a shootout over the weekend to 8th seeded Telluride. So that's some heartbreaking stuff there for VMS. Taking a look at girls volleyball, regional tournaments are starting this week. Eagle Valley enters regionals as the 7th seed in girls Class 4A and will host this weekend in Gypsum. Number 30 Severance and 18 Meade will travel to Gypsum, where whoever comes out on top in that little showdown in Gypsum over the weekend will advance to the next round of regionals. Battle Mountain, on the other hand, enters the 4A regionals as the 25th seed and will travel to the Classical Academy, where they will have matchups with the 12th-seeded Classical Academy and 13th-seeded Mullen. Vail Christian, on the other hand, enters the girls' Class 2A regionals as a 9 seed and will host 16th-seeded Ignacio and 28th-seeded Byers. Now over in Pasadena, California, this past weekend, CU took on 23rd ranked UCLA to see if they could bounce back from that loss at home not too long ago against Stanford. After jumping out to a 3-0 lead, Travis Hunter comes up big for the Buffs as he picks off Bruins quarterback Ethan Garbers to give the Buffs the ball back on offense. The Buffs will settle for another field goal, and this will ultimately come back to bite them. UCLA working deep in CU territory. Garbers finds the open man Carson Steele in the end zone for 6, and a chance to take the lead with the PAT, which they make to go up 7-6 on Colorado. Back with the ball in the second quarter, it's Garbers again. He'll hand it off to Steele, who makes his way down the field, sifting through the CU defense, but he'll get stopped. Ball comes out, and CU recovers. Another costly turnover for the Bruins, but the Buffs won't capitalize on the fumble recovery, so they'll give it straight back to UCLA again. Garbers with the ball, looking around the field. He'll let it rip, and it's picked off by Travis Hunter for the 3rd turnover of the day. But once again, the Buffs offense doesn't put anything together. UCLA will let the Buffs hang around once again, though, as they turn the ball over again. Steele fumbles, and it's recovered by the Buffs before the half. On to the third quarter. Garbers and the Bruins offense find some rhythm as he gets Logan Loya downfield for the biggest gain of the night. Now Garbers back with it, looking downfield. He finds Moliki Matavo for 6, and the Bruins go up by 8. 3rd and goal now for UCLA. They'll run it with TJ Harden, and it's just too easy. Bruins now up 21-6 on Colorado. Colorado in danger as the fourth quarter is starting to wind down in Pasadena. They'll march down the field and put up another 3 to make this one a 9-21 game. Not what you want to see if you're a Buffs fan. UCLA back with the ball, now in scoring position. Colin Schlee with a great read here. Pulls the ball away from his running back, makes a man miss, and gets in the end zone for another Bruins 6. UCLA putting this one out of reach, and this puts the exclamation point on the game to make it crunch time for the Buffs, if you ask me. Buffs working downfield. Shadur Sanders lets one rip, and the ball finds its way into the hands of Jimmy Horn Jr. for Colorado's first touchdown of the game, but it came too late. Colorado down 12 in this matchup late in the game to UCLA, and that's the way this one will finish. CU falls on the road to UCLA 16-28. Taking a look now at CU's remaining games, it doesn't get any easier. They take on number 16 Oregon State and Arizona as their next 2 home games, who are both strong teams. Then the Buffs will close out the regular season at Washington State, then travel to Salt Lake for a rivalry week game against Utah in that rumbling of the Rockies matchup, who's ranked 18th in the country currently. Now we'll shift things up and take a look at Air Force. Over the weekend, we had a matchup between the Air Force Academy and Colorado State in Fort Collins. The Falcons were able to get the job done, beating the Rams 30-13. With the win, Air Force remains undefeated on the season and currently holds that top spot in the Mountain West Conference. The Falcons move up to 17th in the country after that win, which marks the first time they've been ranked this high nationally since 2002. So if you're an Air Force fan, long time, this may be one of the best years you've ever seen for their football program. Now, just taking a quick look here at the AP Top 25. For reference, Air Force, as we talked about, moves up to that 17th spot nationally after the win over Colorado State. I said it once, but I'll say it again. It's a good year to be a Falcons fan.
Now we're just around the corner from college basketball season, and over in Boulder, head coach of CU women's basketball J.R. Payne and the team are coming off a great season last year, but they're looking to improve on that mark in a new year.
Back-to-back trips to the big dance confirm head coach of CU women's basketball J.R. Payne is no stranger to success. Now she enters her 8th season at the helm in Boulder. What have you learned in these past 8 years that you can't wait to implement the most into a new season?
Great question. I mean, I think early on we learned it's really important to be just true to who you are and what you want to be about. And so we've worked really hard to recruit the type of players that we want to be around, kids that are blue collar, hardworking, tough, do their job, be a great teammate. And so that hasn't really changed for us. You know, now that we've really locked into that in the past many years, we've created a culture where we are those things.
Coming off a run to the Sweet 16, Payne's team returns some of the best talent in the conference. She believes preseason all-conference players Jalen Sherrod and Quay Miller will set the tone.
I would say that nobody in the world has higher expectations of ourselves than we do. Like I said, our veterans do a great job of making sure that we're holding ourselves to the standard that we believe we're capable of.
Payne's confidence runs high for the season, which entails a tough non-conference schedule, beginning with the reigning national champions. But the Buffaloes team is hungry for the challenge.
When you look at how tough our schedule is, that tells you how I feel about our team, and our readiness to compete. We talked to our veterans about some of the games that were, put in front of us, and our veterans said, absolutely, we want these games, and so they wanted to be challenged in that way. We'll be prepared.
Payne believes the Pac-12 will be the most competitive conference in women's basketball this season. When league play starts, the Buffs will be ready. CU is set to take on LSU November 6th.
Now make sure to continue coming to us for all the latest sports coverage here in the Valley and beyond. We'll catch you next time.